Yes, hello, and we are back with another episode of Dance Gems. Today we are going to take on a pretty exciting topic, at least that's what I think, and that's the topic of judging and adjudicating. And the title of today is The Perfect Judgement. The adjudicator is always right. And as you can see, of course, that is with a little wink because we are going to question if that's true or not. But I won't discuss anything without inviting first, of course, my good friend, Ton Greten, of course. Hey, are you there, Ton?
Hey, Sean. Yes, I'm there. And yeah, super subject where
Yeah,
we will speak about.
a little bit controversial, and some people are afraid to even talk about it in the open,
Mm-hmm.
but not the
Correct.
dance gems. So yeah, the perfect judgment. The adjudicator is always right. Does that exist? Maybe it already does exist, and is it possible? And maybe it's not possible, and maybe it's not necessary to be possible, right? So let's see how that goes, right? Oh, see, it always does that.
Yeah,
It always
nice.
wants to play that little music that we have, which is very nice. Um, Anyhow, Tom, adjudicating. Do you judge competitions?
Not anymore. Very seldom. I
Hmm.
did in the ballroom Latin
Yeah.
world championships for amateurs, for professionals in the ballroom dancing or standard dancing, they call it in some organizations, and in the Latin and in the show dance and in the formation world. So I did a lot of. I was also invigilator and a chairman of the World Dance Sport Organization, World Dance Sport Council, and the WDSF. Yeah, but since 10 years, I'm not in any organization, so I'm completely independent. Yeah. That's nice to be independent, but sometimes it's quite a challenge because you not see your family because it's a sort of family where you judge with together and you make a lot of friends. Yes,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's several reasons why I'm not judge anymore, and probably you have the same, Sean.
Well, I do. I have a little bit less experience than you, maybe on the international level, but I have judged enough, and I must honestly say I never um, really liked it. I always felt it's something to give back to the dancers, right? I mean, I've been trained by people, I've been danced myself a lot, so to be able to, try to judge at least from my opinion, I thought it was giving something back. We don't have to do it for money. Some people think that we make a lot of money if we judge. Actually, we don't.
No,
But
no.
it's actually not a thing that I enjoy doing a lot. Um, I do miss hanging out with friends, as that is. And I'm completely independent as well, meaning no member of any organization at all. So for you, same thing. If I get an invitation, and we do get invitations now and then I will judge it on its own merits. If I think it's something interesting to do, then I do, but I don't feel any obligation to either do it or not do it. I'm not against or
No.
pro anything at this moment. And it sounds like a safe choice, but it's actually a non-safe choice. We want to make a statement with this, actually. Yeah.
No, yeah, I actually don't make a statement, but
Yeah.
it would be nice to judge, but I would change. Um, I would change it uh, in all the organizations because I'm there. How many years now? I'm judging. I judged from 1995. That's a long time,
Is
and
a long time.
many experience in many dance forms in contemporary hip hop. I judge country dancing, uh, ballroom Latin. So in disco, I did also. That's quite Yeah, so many experience in different
Yeah.
organizations. So I have experience and I know where I'm talking about. And and the judges who are there, they judge for several reasons. Yes, when you are young, I was one time also young, in a younger age. So I liked it a lot that I get an invitation and to judge. And what the responsibility what I had there, that was a different one than I have now, and a different experience. Yes, and it's nice that you can see it now from a distance. And I like also to look to sport and how they judge it, like football, the educator or the referee, and how the video referee works in hockey or in volleyball. That's really interesting. And you see many crossovers there. And our dance world could use them, but they not do that yet. So yeah, I would uh, I would make it more open, more transparent, and not so closed what it is now. When you get judged in a dance competition, you have a mark like first place, second place, third. The first place is the highest place what you can get, but still it has no context. You don't know why you are first, but you also not know why you are sixth place or tenth. That's that's a quite secret, and this is also I think the handicap of everything.
Yeah, I think so
That's,
too. Yeah,
yeah.
I think since because it's so closed, then people very quickly fall in subjective language, saying, "Oh, this couple is better than the other one because he's after all number one and number two, and better and than the other one has given very little or most of the time actually no context at all." So then we stay floating around in only subjective things, and I think what organizations sometimes miss with that, they also do that to not only the dancers, but they do that to the coaches and they do that to the audience. And if you, in my opinion, if you want to bring everything up to a different level, with openness, you can have more entertainment for the audience. You can give more educational and growth opportunities to the coaches and dancers if you give more context, but also to the adjudicators among each other to grow in their trade as an adjudicator. Would I think also be very beneficial if you find a system in which you can create more openness, as you mentioned. I don't know what you think about that, Tom.
Yes, absolutely. I would make it more open,
Mm-hmm.
and but because it's so close now, even in some organizations, we have to make a difference therein. You have organizations who do it for its commercial sense,
Yeah.
uh, associations and organizations, and other organizations there are volunteers more. And if you look to these organizations, but there is a crossover because they judge at the same less or more with the same method, and it's closed. You cannot speak with other judges. It's not allowed. It's also not allowed to speak with dancers, but it happened. Uh, and still, you can manipulate it. If you have trainers who are very experienced, they can manipulate the competition. Even I give some examples later. That's really interesting. And yes, because it's so close, you can manipulate it. Also, the judges by themselves can manipulate it. I give also sounds now very negative, but if you once in these organizations, it's quite logical how it happened, and can they change it? I think yes, they could change it. and but it's now something. What I tell is something. How I can tell that this in English? It's um, some strange how say it now. But if I give context to it, then the listener will understand why judging could more transparent and could be more open. It starts with the organizations. Doesn't matter if it's a commercial one or an association who works on volunteers. That doesn't matter. First, I would start with the rule book to make the rule book more or less more objective. So I would look for words like um, good, wrong, beautiful, natural, normal, not in a rule book. Even in the ice skating world, I work with ice skaters who was going to the Olympics. I made the music for them and some choreography. And one of the choreography was example the it has to be a good choreography. Eh, okay, what you doing with these two words? So both words has no context. So actually, we looked for the context for choreography in the rule book of the ISU, but it didn't had an context to it. So and then when there is no context to it, then we or other people would speak about choreography, but we could talk hours and hours and still not speak about the same thing. So this is what I would do first with all these organizations. Make from words like choreography, space, time, technique, put a star to it and put context to it and put it at the end of the rule book that we speak about the same. And when we speak about footwork, yes, you can go in details, but first I would take the bigger words like presentation, like choreography, like space, like time, what I said already. This I would make context to it in the rule book and put it at the end, and then there gets more clarity in it then. That's what I think, Sean. What do you think about?
Well, yeah, I would definitely agree. If I go and I by no mean I would say that I read all the rule books, because that would almost be impossible. What I know that the same as you is that we use words and there is no definition around it. So context is a wider thing, but I would probably start, maybe you mean the same thing, that we have the same definition of the same thing. So if we just say, uh, who has the best choreography, and you did not define what choreography is, then how would you judge that what is the best? That's
Yeah,
simply impossible. So Ton and I always use the same example over and over again, but it makes it very clear. Ton and I can talk about a chair for hours and hours, but if he's talking about a nice leaning chair for watching television, and I'm talking about a chair at a bar, then we think that we talk about the same thing, but we don't, and therefore we also judge in a different way, and that cannot be, of course. So I would go through all that things and ask, why do you want to use this word? And if you use a word, where is the definition of it, right? So, and it
yeah.
doesn't really
This
matter.
is what.
Yeah, yeah.
No, yeah.
But
You can continue. Sorry,
no,
Sean.
any
What
with
you want to
any
say?
word that they use in the rule book has to have a definition, obviously,
Yes,
right? So
yes.
that's
It starts with that one.
yeah,
That's your fundament. If the
and
fundament is not there,
yeah,
because on the fundament standing the coaches, the
yeah,
trainers, the dancers,
yeah,
the judges,
yeah.
and if this is not there,
It can,
yeah,
yeah, and I would advise the organizations to, at some point in time, it's okay if one organization has a slightly different definition from one thing than the other. Don't
yes,
try to
yes,
have the absolute truth because it's not there. as
Yeah.
long as I know, as a competitor, as a coach, and hopefully even as an audience and as a judge, that this is the definition we work in into this competition. That would
Yes.
already be super helpful. That's what I
Yes, that
think.
would be helpful. So organizations who will listen to our podcast or trainers from that organization,
Yeah,
so bring that podcast to them or look in the rule work and change it. But I understand also because they want not that the book gets the rule book gets thicker and thicker, so they want also yes, if you not work on that rule book and it's sleeping, the rule book, it will not develop. It's like dancing. If you not work on your dancing or on any kind of hobby, what you do, playing with music or sport, football, soccer, etc. If you not put time, effort in it, and how it will develop if you don't give attention to it. It's even with the plants. It need when I have a garden home, I the garden need some attention sometimes.
yeah,
And
yeah. No, I
yes,
there I agree too. Most organizations, and it's we sound a little bit hard today because, but we are not actually. But we should not forget that if it comes to development of dance, that most of the development comes through the dancers and the coaches and the choreographers, and not through the organization. But
correct.
the organization should always accommodate and facilitate growth instead of looking for things that possibly could stop development. That would be that's a little bit more subjective judgment,
Yes,
but it would be very nice to look with a good of group of people saying, "Hey, every half year, every year, we look at the rules and do we still accommodate growth? What are the
yes, and
trends?"
actually, yes,
Yeah,
and actually, they need specialists in that
absolutely.
organization
Yeah,
who only busy or commissions with the rule book and work every year on it because it has to be a lively rule book. It's alive and not sleeping. So that would be my first advice. I understand the most of them, even in a commercial organization, um, it's they not get paid for it,
yeah,
and when they would get paid, it would make it more professional
yeah,
also.
yeah.
And they have not enough manpower mostly in these organizations, and they are busy with other problematics to solve, and it gets not always the first priority, the rule book. It stands and it needs to be worked on. I give some example in one organization, WDSF. I will say the name. In the show dance, they have a show dance division. There is a rule, a normal hold. So first, if you not know what a normal hold is, I don't also not know what a normal hold is. It's like a normal telephone, but uh, normal has no context, but hold don't has also context. So both words are actually you can kick out in the rulebook or you give some definition
Oh,
for it.
define it. Yeah,
Yeah, defined it. And the same with the floor. They say we have 16 by say 12 meters. Then you dance on the floor, but when you are out of the floor, you are disqualified. But they don't have a
markers.
line markers around the floor. So how you want to know that you're out of the floor? So this rules makes no sense. And if you want to make it clear, then make it clear. Or put 16 by 12 and say, okay, we don't have markers, but when you are a little bit off the floor, so you have to define that again, a little bit off the floor, you will be not disqualified even when you are out of the floor. So yes, that's that are a few examples from the rule book. And another thing I would change in this organization is not to be closed anymore. that the marks are closed, your judging system are closed, and you are not allowed to speak with each other. I would just do the opposite. I would make it more transparent for the audience, for the trainers, and for the dancers and for the judges also. Because when it's transparent, it gets context, and you can be agree or not agree, but you know what somebody say about it. And now, what happened in some of the organizations is, if you not, because now in these days you dance in teams, not in a team like your own dance team, but also in a team in a ballroom Latin for an quiet organization who is out of that organization, but it's a team, and they put the dancers to the competition, but also the judges who are in that same team, and they judge actually the dancers, and they send each other the numbers, which numbers they have to continue. So they manipulate it actually. And when you have two or three judges from the same team or from the same country, even, that could be not, how you say, that's for another dancer a quite challenge to challenge with the dancers on the floor because the other one has an advantage and
Yeah, or a disadvantage.
or
Um,
disadvantage.
mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, so I remember that I was judging a couple of actually national championships, and my own couple who was going for a championship was there. And some people say that's unfair. Well, it's unfair in both ways. So if people
Yeah.
think about immediately that I would give favor to my own couple. But here's the thing, this is human behavior, right? What I teach, and if I see that back in my student, of course I like that. So I have a tendency to mark that higher, even without any ill intention. But here is also the downside of it. If I know that they can do better than they dance at that moment, right, I might actually mark them lower where in comparison they could have maybe. So it's not always an ill intent, but I think we need to be fair to the judges and the students to make sure that these things cannot happen, right? So there are enough
Yeah.
countries and teams to judge without having that type of interference. And I
Oh,
think the world of dancing, to be honest, sorry Tom that I go a little bit on a rampage here, but I think the world of dance is constantly talking about adjudicators who want to do it wrong, but I think there are enough adjudicators who want to do it right too, and they want to be
yes.
fair, but we need to put them in a
Yes, they want to be
position
fair,
we need to put
but
them in a position that they can be fair.
yes,
That's
but
that.
it's yes, but it's something different from what you are telling. You are on your own without a
No,
team.
no,
So
sure,
when
no. But it could be. It could also be in a team, and then I have even more pressure to put my own team members forward. Of course, no, I
yeah,
do
yes,
understand that.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah,
And this is what happened in the
of
dancing
course.
world, internationally wise.
Yeah,
So when you have in Italy one group of dancers who forms a team,
yeah,
and Dutch, German, Russians, Polish are in that team, and there are also dancers in that team, trainers
agree.
in that team. They give workshops, they invite each other,
Yeah,
and if you go to a competition then and you put these judges who are also in that team judging, yeah, that you could ask as organization, is this what we want? Is this fair? Is this correct? So this would be my first question that I would
yeah,
do as
yeah,
organization. This is why it has to be more transparent and more
absolutely.
open,
Yeah,
because now you can hide it. And if you can hide it, you can do a
I
lot of
totally agree.
things.
Yeah,
And then trainers, dancers, audience
yeah,
don't understand it, why it happened like that. And I speak not only about the highest division or class in the dancing, because you have several classes from beginners till professional. And yes, you can manipulate it. So when you make it open and transparent, and you have a judges panel, and you give them 1 hour in the judges room for just only for the highest class, and you have a different other judges panel who could continue with judging, and then you come for the highest class as an entertainment also, and give the results and why you came to that result. That would make it a little bit more fair and understanding. So, but I understand also that it not is possible because it takes too long time probably for organization. It's cost more money because the judges are 1 hour away or half hour and they are discussing. And why it would be like that? Because I don't trust the perceiving of a human being, not also my own not, because you miss more information in say in 10 seconds than you get information. So this is why I miss probably something when I look just to my paper of judging or on my tablet when I judge digital. Then I'll lose already a few seconds and I miss already information. So and my thoughts are on the device and on the paper instead on the floor. And this is why a video referee or video judging could help. I don't want to say it's the solution, but you could look again and you could take more your time for it and come to a conclusion. And maybe it would then be a different conclusion like before. But all this not happen because time pressure, money pressure. And also they don't have the technically skills in the organization to handle this. But I would hope in the future they could think about it to approach it differently in the organizations. And the first keyword had to be, or the primary word, how you say, had to be transparency.
Yeah, I think new technology like video, even AI, can give at least an extra layer. I'm not saying that it should take over. I mean, you see in soccer and hockey, you see where they bring it in as, we call it in soccer. They say it's the fourth. It's the fourth judge, or it's one extra component. And I think where you started is absolutely right. And a lot of people, if you and I talk a lot about this in the dance gems, is we really have to acknowledge that as human beings, we're not as perfect as we think we are, because our perception is incredibly inaccurate. And that's one thing that and then it's also tainted by the own filter that you have. And it's absolutely not a comment. That could be culture, it could be your education, could be all kind of things. What makes my perception of the things different than yours, even if we look in exactly the same time for the duration to the same couple, we could still see and we will still see different things. And that doesn't make you more right than me. It's
No,
just a
no.
different thing. So if we try to capture it, and I summarize the whole, some organization, they have like, I don't know, six different categories in which they, put people behind a computer, and they have to mark those people on technical skills, on musicality, on posture and hold, and a choreography. And it feels like it's more objective, but if the person still says 8, we still don't hear why that person marked that couple number 8, and that's the transparency we ask. So getting more categories is not the first help that we need. I think the
Yeah,
first
never.
help that we need is the transparency, and that helps both the adjudicator and helps the dancers and the coaches, and of course it's a little bit more exciting for the audience too, which in the end of the day it is a performance sport as well. So I think it would be advantageous for a lot of people, and that's where we have to acknowledge. So to try, I mean,
Yes.
other sports try to do that too, to make it so objective, which is impossible with a sport like this. Um, to do that,
Yes, correct, Sean. But still, example like in hockey, tennis, or soccer, even there is a evolution from the last 10 years and now
yeah,
AI and the video referee, etc. And when I look to volleyball and the ball goes over the net and and then it goes in the field of the or out of the field of the volleyball field, and sometimes they touch the ball still a little bit, but the referee said they didn't touch the ball. And look from the angle of the video referee, and they looked to it, they couldn't see from that angle that he touched the ball. But then the camera turns around, like i.e., turns around, and then suddenly you see it's 5 centimeters or three from the ball. So even the referee could not see it, and even the camera from that perspective could not see it, but from the other perspective you could see it. And if you would make a crossover to the dancing, why they judge only frontal from it? That's not what I understand. They are very static. Some dancers they judge in a diagonal, and the other one frontal. So you get a different feel, different distance, different perspective from it. Actually, when I would judge, and I wouldn't have a video referee and not the other things, so I would judge every couple from the same distance, from the same angle. That would be the most logical for me. And I think it's very arrogant to say, yes, but the other couple who dance 30 meters away from me, I can also judge. Yes, I believe that you can. But it looks different if you judge the other couple frontal from 10 meters or from 8, and the other
completely,
one from 30 meters from
completely.
a diagonally. And how you want to see the facial expression and how you want to feel the communication when it would be a team and the relationship together. Yes, and when you would judge also from a distance and you have a world championship in formation dancing, and one judge panel judge from the distance and the other one from the side. But if you not switch in 4 rounds or 3 rounds the judges panel, so then you judge 2 times when you have 3 rounds from the upper part and 1 time from the side. But when you are have bad luck, you could judge also as judge 3 times from the side. So you have a totally different perception from the formation and from the teams. And this I would also change from the organization point of view. I would judge from all angles and also rotate the judges. And I would also ask the judges from where you want to judge, actually, because they're not involved in it.
Oh,
So
they're
there is
not.
only
Yeah,
one. There
yeah,
is only one-way communication, Sean.
yeah.
And if you want to get to how you say, clear perceiving of information, then give them also the chance that they can perceive it from where they want to perceive it.
Yeah, that could be a solution. I think you
Yeah,
with
could be a yes.
creating that openness. You know, this strong discussion about judging has, of course, come forward because we feel that people are politically involved and are just manipulating things, true or not true. But that's where this whole discussion is coming from. So some organizations try to do it in more and more rules without very in-depth understanding of what you talk about. So it also comes down to, and I think some organizations try to do that, to see that the judges is one like WSF. They all these judges come out and there's one score that coming out. But again, it's a calculation of many things, and you have no clue how they came to that thing. And there are not simple things like you say, okay, they're still sitting on one row with all their laptops, and how is that possible to do that? Why is it not that they are, on exact, adjudicator one is standing on this position, adjudicator two on that position? You solve that in your formation team by training them by putting cameras on exact the same spot so you can see it from all angles and judge that. Now, I do understand you cannot do that in a competition, but you can mimic quite a bit by putting judges at a certain spot. At least
Mhm.
then that's more clarity. Nowadays, which is nice, you can walk wherever you want. You can stand whatever you want. You basically can do whatever you want. you know,
Yeah.
that's basically what it comes down to. Um, and in the old day, I don't think that's per se a bad way of judging. It's just a form of judging where you ask a bunch of people their opinion. I, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just, can you call that then fair judging? No, it's just the opinion of that group of people, but we don't accept that as a fair way of judging. And now we try
Mhm.
to do it the other way in making a lot of rules. And what you're saying is there are two things wrong with that. I mean, it's a good attempt. Let's put that way. But there are two things that can be improved. Number one is define the words that you use. Give a good, if you say it needs to be a hold, tell them what hold, what that means. And the second thing, most important thing, is give more transparency. And if you
Yes.
walk on that path, you can actually evolve your judging too. We're not saying that Ton and Jean has now the ultimate solution. We say if we go in with those two things alone, right? Look at the rule book, look at the definitions, make your judging more transparent. You probably could grow to a system that could work.
Yes, and look to other sports, how they do it in
Absolutely.
hockey,
Yeah.
in volleyball, in tennis, even with cooking by the Michelin stars,
Yeah.
how they do it. Look to the
Art.
uh,
Art
art, but
competitions.
also in wine when you
Wine.
proeven,
Yeah.
what is that?
Tasting.
Taste wine. Yes, you have also there
Competitions. Yeah. Yeah,
competitions
I
in
would
it.
definitely not only look at sports that are a little bit more absolute, like, who's the fastest, where a line is
Mm.
strictly drawn, because, yeah, there are elements in dance where you can do that. But if we try to make our elements and then that, you get no evolution in dance, and we miss the whole artistry in the dance. So look at also at art competitions, wine tasting, cooking. There are definitely more subjective things that are also judged in a way. Not saying that they do it well, but at least I think you can learn from it. Even I think you and I,
Yes.
Tom, maybe even need to invite some people. How do you judge actually
Yeah, and
paintings?
maybe yes,
Yeah,
paintings, but also how they do it in ice skating,
of
how they
ice
do
skating,
it
or
in
yeah,
gymnastics, and in the gymnastics they have more. They have in the gymnastics also the acro gymnastic. They have the or the gymnastic on the floor, on the horse. I don't know how they call that, and so you have several
oh yeah, they call it. Yeah.
different areas in the gymnastic where they judge, and I don't know if they use the same one. So if you want to make an evolution, I would take everywhere the positive things out of it. And even in our daily life, you could look in the American judging system in our society, in your society, Sean, how they do it. In each country, they do it also different. So in the Netherlands, they judge in the society different than in the American society when you had did some crime, and how the judges approach it there. In the Netherlands, it's pure professionals who are doing this. In America, um, this is
Right.
your right to get how you say, to
Public's
go to
opinion.
court,
Yeah.
and yes, and they put you in court. But also there, I think there are some positive aspects in it,
Oh yeah.
because they come together, speak about it, and it's all different layers from the society that put the people in it there. For now, also this made the evolution, because when you look 20, 30 years back, that was not that wide diversity in the judges panel, and they they're working on it, and you see each country, each sport, each wherever where comes judging, or where you educate, or where you give some opinion, there is an evolution now. And if you would take all these crossovers and you would take it in one pot and you would speak with a team about it, then you work on it at least. But my feeling is now, and I could be wrong, I feel in all this organization they're standing still for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Except the WDSF, they try to change it, what they call it absolute judging system, and absolute that it's that's not possible in my opinion.
It's not
Um,
even
how
necessary, in my opinion.
no, it's
Yeah.
not necessary, but the intentions are right. But still, they have to improve it to make it more objective and make it more transparent. It's still closed and there is no transparency. So you could manipulate it from both, from the sides, from the trainer side and the judge's side.
Yeah, so I think you have one, let's for conversation's sake, call where we try to go to an absolute system, which I don't think is possible, but it's also not necessary. I think because it's an art form too, and art is not to be captured in absolutism, because that would
No,
almost be contradictory. But that doesn't mean you cannot find the elements, and if you define the elements in the right way and
exactly,
define
Sean.
them, then you can judge
Exactly.
those. That's actually what we do. And it
No,
could be
no, you one step too fast. One, the first what you said, all these elements you put together, and what you said about the elements. Can you repeat that?
define the elements, just give a definition of the elements.
Yes. And then put a team together for maybe 10, 20, or 30 people and let them define these elements, what they did, but then find the balance in it,
Yeah,
what it would be. And
yeah,
then a year after, it could change that balance again.
exactly.
And
Yeah, exactly.
yes, yes.
So I
So
think
then, yeah,
it's you come to I think a good hybrid, or you switch on the other side in, and then it's also a matter of can you accept that. But clearly, history does has shown that you don't accept it. You just go by the opinion from a group of people, but then accept that
yes,
too,
and yes,
and then try
yes,
to rule out politics and stuff like that. And but in both system, this is what you and I hear in both system, what the first thing we ask for is transparency, because in both system it would be helped by transparency. It will get out a lot of the discussions about politics and stuff like that. And if you and I looked at WD7 WDC, and if I say okay, these are the 10 elements they look at, in one of in both areas there is the word musicality, and in both
yes,
areas
yes,
musicality is
but not
not
only there,
it's not.
Sean. It's also in the IDO.
Yeah,
It's
I know, I
also in
know.
Hip Hop
So
International. It's also in the Udo. It's
in
also,
non musicality is defined. None.
yeah,
And none of
no,
it's just said because yeah, but you're a dancer or a musician, you need to know what musicality is. Okay, just define for
yeah,
me how I need to
yes,
judge musicality. So at
yes,
best,
and the same with the other words. Also, space, time,
same. That's
even
yeah,
or dynamic. When I use the word dynamic in judge, you
or
have to judge dynamic quality. So it's two
artistic
words.
expression, which is even an
Artistic expression, exactly. It's two words. It's expression,
an
defined
artistic.
expression, and artistic. If you define that two words, then we can come to conclusion, but still we could perceive it differently.
Yeah.
And this is why you have to speak about it and not to keep everything secret. Because what you actually, as an educator or judge, I want also to develop and to learn. But how I will learn when I have to keep everything secret? How I want to develop?
Yeah.
And the same also for the audience. They want also to understand. They need context, and also the trainer, the choreographer, the dancers, they need context. And this time they need context, not just the mark and put some fancy words on the judge's
Yeah.
paper, but also put more defined more these words and also make it more transparent. And this is also a kind of entertainment if you make it more transparent,
Oh yeah,
because
exciting. It makes it
yeah,
more
that's
exciting.
exciting also for the audience.
Yeah.
You can see it in, and this is why people like to look to American Got Talent, because they get, they will want to hear what the judges say, and this is why they're like, how how you call these programs, The Voice with singing. So they
Definitely.
like when the judges talk and talk about what they see there on that floor,
Yeah.
and that would be a wonderful
Yeah.
point
Oh, it
to
is.
bring in as an
Yeah, it is.
entertainment.
It is. It is. There is this program. We're going a little bit of a tangent here, but we have time.
Mm,
There's this program, Ton, and it's called Songland, and it's not. I mean, it's unfortunately not super successful. What they do is they have three music producers, professional music producers. And let's say you are the top singer. You are Taylor Swift,
mm,
and Taylor Swift
mm,
is invited, and then they invite four songwriters, and then two of them get or three of them, I don't know, they invite a group of songwriters, and then a group of them, no, actually three of them, are invited to develop that song, and then Taylor Swift can say, okay, this is the song that I will sing. So there's a huge reward of it, but the whole process is extremely transparent. They every step of the way they say, hey, we picked you three because, and then they fill it in, and then they start to work with the producers, and the producers work on all the elements that you and I talked about, super defined. And then in the end, the main the person who really picks is of course the artist, saying, okay, now that I sit on for these reasons, this is the song that I'll pick. And it is so exciting because you can see the development, you have suspense, who will do it, and so it is literally coaches and dance students working together, putting it in front of the judge, do it again, put it in front of the judge. And that excitement and development all in one program in a very short
mm.
amount of time is incredible.
I would like to
Songland.
see that program.
I think it's on Netflix too. Yeah, find it. Songland. It's incredible, and the voice, and idols. We like that because we hear adjudicators' feedback, and then we can hate or like them. Doesn't really matter, but it is excite. There is excitement in there, right? And
Hmm, hmm,
and I think, yeah, that's a little bit, also that's also evolution in how entertainment has developed, right? In
hmm.
the past you had these authorities, and what they say is true, and they don't have to explain themselves. But modern society doesn't want to live by that anymore.
No, no,
No,
not
we
anymore,
no, we don't
because we
want
have
to.
our World Wide Web,
Yeah, we don't want
and
to live with that anymore.
we make such a big evolution now. The last
Yeah,
20 years now,
yeah,
it's just the beginning now, Sean,
yeah.
of everything.
Because number
So,
number
mm,
one, knowledge is not power anymore, because knowledge you
mm,
can get anywhere, right?
yeah,
But the use of knowledge, there is power if if you are transparent with it, like what we're doing right now. And that is, I think, where you can activate, include, but most of all also keep growing into the things that we like so much, which is a really
Yes.
strange form, is competitive dancing in all kind of forms, whether it's hip hop, whether it's formation
Yeah.
dance, whether it's ballroom. It needs to
Breakdance.
evolve, and it
Yeah.
is a breakdance. It is exciting. The role of a judge is a difficult one, as you and I both have experienced, but we want to grow into it as well. You want to have a fair competition as much as possible.
Yes. And a fair competition, Sean, with three judges, if they would give context, then it get more fair. But if
Yeah,
there are no context, then would be
yeah,
have to better 11 judges, because then you
exactly,
have more a golden standard
exactly.
of the
Yes,
majority. And
yes,
now you get a majority of three. Still, it is a little bit strange, because when two uh, perceive it differently, and the other one, the only one who is there, is very positive, and the other two very negative, and then your mark is then also negative. But if you have 11 ones, then it could be still a different outcome of it,
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's the
because
high.
you look,
Yeah,
yeah, you look for the golden standard
yeah,
actually.
definitely. Yeah, the higher the stakes are, the more complex we tend to make the systems, right? That's a little bit also a human behavior, right? The higher the stakes are, this is very, if you listen to this in English, you might not know what I'm talking about. But if you go to the Netherlands, you go to the Everett Dance Studio, you do bronze, silver, gold, and so on, right? And then you and I both have been invited many times to dance studios and say, okay, you have to judge all these students and give them a point, and then they can move on from bronze to silver. Now, they always pass because that's kind of the rule, right? Because it's a commercial studio. But it's one judge, and I have the same view all the time. So, um, would another judge have given different numbers? Maybe, but it's very exciting. People see me doing it. They say, "Hey, one has number 6 and one number 7." It's on a very small scale. They can talk to me afterwards. Why did you give me a 9, another 8? And it's very open, transparent, very friendly. Normally, I used to like that a lot, by the way, to do that because it's so open. There's no secrecy, and in that as well. And we need to bring that excitement back too, and not
Yeah.
create this separation between judge and I mean, we need to get that excitement back into why do you rank a person higher? You know, yeah. And it forced
Yes.
me also to argument it. So
Yeah. I
I,
I understand all these organizations, commercial ones and volunteer ones. I
yeah,
understand them. They have not enough people there, not enough experts, and not enough money to work with. So they say it works like it always works. Why we should it change? That's now an interpretation what I give. So if you feel that's not true, yeah, let us know. Give it in the comments.
yeah. Yeah, definitely. So I'm sure you listeners, if you are involved in some sort of a way in dancing in competition, whether it's hip hop, whether it's ballroom, you sure have an opinion about it. The objective is hopefully the same for all of us: is that we want to grow in this what we love so much, right? And
Mhm.
come to a system that can work for all of us, so that we are a little bit more united instead of divided by it, that there is a little bit less power play, which is one of the reasons why we do what we do. And do know that Ton and I, we are just giving our opinion based upon expertise and things we have heard and learned through our life as
Not
dancers and
only
dance coaches.
experience, Sean,
Experience,
of
yeah.
expertise. Yeah,
Yeah,
experience. Yes, yes, yes.
experience and yeah, that's what I said, I guess, I hope.
Yeah,
um
yes, yes. You said that.
yeah, so that's our goal. But yeah, this is probably we bring it back. And I hope, Tom, we should no I think we should invite some people and ask them
Yeah, that
about
would be
their
really interesting.
yeah,
Yes,
from other
and
disciplines.
yeah,
Um,
other disciplines, but also from um, not only other disciplines in dancing, but also in organizations, and
Definitely.
also so when we could have a group of 10 people, that would be that would be already wonderful, because then you get different angles and different views on it, and maybe there come some outcome of it where other things, okay, where other organization will think, maybe we could do something on it, and maybe they are doing something on it and we not know it. But
Oh, for
what I
sure.
see,
Yeah.
it's that's a hot issue always, and for the many years that was when I started with it in 95, and it's a hot topic, so it's almost 30 years of
Yes.
experience.
Yes, definitely. I started just a few years later, 1997, I think. I started to judge. So we have the same length of experience in this thing, and I look at it, and I still go to a lot of competitions as well. I enjoy most of it. The part that I often don't enjoy so much is the judging itself, but I enjoy the dancing quite a bit as well. So that's why we do it, actually, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, anyhow, this was another episode of the Dance Gems. With that, of course, we say till next time. We probably have a completely different topic, but always related to dance as well. That's why we, after all, are the Dance Gems. Tom, with that, I already say goodbye to you and to our audience. And maybe you want to say something too before I start our last tune and tell us and tell our audience where they can listen and to us.
Yes, yes. I would say to the dancers and trainers, keep on going like that. Stay close by yourself. Use the system what is now there. Manipulate it how you want to manipulate it. So do your thing. That's the most important. And keep on dancing, I would say.
Yeah, keep on dancing. That's important. All right, Tom. Let's go out of this, and we'll see you next time. I will start the music, but also tell you that you can find us on Spotify under Dance Dash Gems or YouTube, where we have our own YouTube channel at Ton Greten Podcast. YouTube at Ton Greten Podcast, and of course we have a specific dedicated website, Jam Dance slash podcast as well, where you can find all our episodes there. And with that, I say to you, bye bye.